because they have a very specific set of guidelines or rules they have to follow. If they were sent down to save a woman in a car accident, and as they were there, they saved the child that the woman had, they violated the foundation in that arena, and they were sent back to continue an earth experience until they had learned more to move back into a higher realm. Quite magnificent. Yeah. And I was told that angels, actually it was angles originally. It's how they come into this third dimension in an angle. And the higher ones come in from an arc angle. And they started teaching me a lot more about that. You won't hear these things for some time, but we'll skip ahead into some things. Others are reincarnations. And people from India fully and easily accept in their culture reincarnations. Many of them put black or chalk marks on the back of their head, the back of their neck, so they can identify certain family members when they return. That mark will be there with that certain type chalk. But reincarnations are typically sent back here to learn a lesson or to make a difference in something they had failed at doing the way it really should have been or the way they wanted to do it before. It's, it's being sent back to school for a bit. Quite fascinating how this works. The indigo, crystal, rainbow children. I've had medicine men and Native American elders share this with me, that there were different time frames on Earth. For instance, it may have been in the 1980s from 84 to 89. Those were the crystal children. But it varies with each of them. Each of them came here with a different DNA because they had a different purpose and role when they got to a certain point here in life and when certain events took place. It's like me with computers and technology. That's not what I was planted here with. But younger people, they know it. They just didn't, it's easy for them because that's part of their makeup. And each one of these groups of children had different roles and purposes, like each one of us here have. And you're obviously discovering your own roles and purposes. That's why you're here, your talents. When you go through a near-death experience, as I had, or many of you have, you start realizing you have some traits or unique abilities that evolved further or took a big leap. Everything from healing, intuitive abilities, psychic abilities, many things, because what you have done is when you what we call die, part of your soul starts to migrate in to the next physical reality. And as you come back, you have a residual at the entrance of that dimension. You've brought that back with you as part of your makeup. The part of the next dimension or the next realm is now part of who you are. And it's a great thing to start discovering that, oh, this is how these things happen. This is only one way it happens. There are also wisdom keepers here, advisors, medicine men, shaman, gurus, oracles. They go by dozens of different names. And they have been the holders of the information. And they're coming forward and sharing now what has been held back from humanity. And they're sharing it with everyone. As the ETs have explained, we have gifted this information of technology to humanity for about 3/4 of a century. However, we had given it to the leaders of your culture and business and governments, and they have kept it for self-serving purposes and have not given it to humanity. So at this time, we are now embedding this information with individuals around your planet. And that's why so many people are starting to have experiences, is because it's time for these worlds to start coming together. And in all these different dimensions and realms that I mentioned here, there are beings that exist in every one of them for different reasons. So many are coming back in time and space for this particular event of this birthing, if you will, of the seeds as they break the soil. If you were to tilt this to the left 90 degrees on end, it's like a plant. The lower left, the first third, dirt, if you will. And you look at the third dimension, third realm, look at that as a seed. And as you move into the plasma, that's the sap and such in plants and trees and things. And as you move up into the photonic, that's getting the energy from the light. And then it's all recycled again like a tree. But they're coming back here to embed their consciousness into this birthing process. Some are of the light, some are of the dark, some are both, and the most are just observers. And I kept thinking, well, why are people getting this? Well, that's not their job. That's our job. And it's up to us to start discovering more about who we are, what our purpose is, what our role, mission is, and start doing the things to put that into play. Because to have a sense of this, and before it all happens, have it just happen without our helping create and make it and shape it, how sad that we realized we missed that opportunity. We're here, we have the potential now to change the world. It's our job. I was sharing with a friend of mine earlier here that I no longer spend the time following what the government's doing, what the self-serving big business are doing, and so many others, because you don't have time to keep up with all that. What I do is follow the constructive solutions. And that's what I'm spending my time on, is realizing more how this works. It's pretty darn exciting. And hopefully I've given you some sense of a conceptual foundation that you might be looking at things different as you move forward. And people are having trouble with, well, you say this and I don't understand how that works. This physical matrix starts to allow you a place in which to put things that starts to make sense. Because in this physical world, we can't see the other realities. They're here, they're among us, but we can't see them because it's not in our biological makeup. Some people can see them because it is within their unique makeup, and with the old Sony high video cameras, you can start to see these beings even among us here. And I love it when we use the audio and video with the old Sony i8s, and you can see them and talk with them. And they're doing things. They're physically either levitating things that you get to film, or they're tossing things around, moving things. I just love that. And some are playful. Some have been educational. If you ever start working with people on the other side, or I would suggest that you first of all introduce yourself. Here's my name, who I am, what I am in third dimension, third realm. I'm a curious individual. My name's Rick Nelson, and I'm so fascinated to discover that I'm here with other worlds and realities, and only benevolent beings are permitted to be here with me and share. And I ask of you, with great respect and regard, that you please give me a sign of your presence here with me to help confirm this greater reality I'm being introduced to. And not all the time, but quite often, they will do things that you realize you're talking with them, you're in another world. I remember one of the first times I was using a device called Frank's Box, Telephone of the Dead, Black Box. The fellow who created is Frank Sumption here in Denver, of all places. And he designed a box. It's being modified all the time. He's put all the information on the web for free. You can build your own. And I was working with Christopher Moon, a paranormal investigator. You may have seen him on some of the national television programs. And I was working at the Lumber Baron Inn with him, where two young women who were 19, I believe it was, were raped and murdered back in 1979, and when it was a boarding house. And he was there interviewing them with his camera and this device. We couldn't see them on the film, but with the device he was recording and he had turned these recordings over to the Denver police. At first, the Denver police wanted nothing to do with it because it sounded too crazy, but they had to because it related to an unsolved murder. It's still open case. So they looked at they listened to the tape, and they were so moved, they said there were 7 points in there that only the 2 women, the killer, and the 2 detectives knew about the case. And no one else knew. And you covered 7 of those points. And they talk about the key suspect was the one that did it. But they then explained where he went, what he did along the way after they killed him. He killed them. And the police I don't know if they've solved it yet or not, but they reopened the case based on that. But anyhow, when we got through with that interview with them, Christopher said, well, would you like to speak with someone? I said, I wasn't prepared. I said, like who? He said, well, whoever's there. I said, okay. Is there anyone there here that can hear me? And I heard this deep voice, yes. Whoa. And I was at a loss. I thought, oh, do you have a physical body or form where you're at? And this deep voice just started laughing and bellowing, just laughing. And he said, no, we're just energy. Wow, what a response. Fits right in here. Everything is energy and consciousness. It's denser forms of energy on the left. As you move into the right, it's the lighter forms. But everything from this to a ghost, it's pure energy. And it's embedded with a consciousness. And the self-aware consciousness, these sentient beings, those are the thrilling ones. And we all have the ability to communicate with them. But as you learn more, you'll learn more about how to approach what you want to achieve. You can meditate. There's all sorts of ways of doing this. Hypnosis. I've got 2 certifications as a hypnotherapist. I was shocked to find that everything from meditation, prayer, there are more than a dozen things, hypnosis, even the self-improvement programs, the 8-step programs, they all had the same foundation. You state with genuine emotion what it is you want to achieve. And you tune yourself out of your mind, shut off that busy mind, and get settled, take a breath. Meditation, prayer, you go into that deep state. What you've done is you've moved from your intellect to your heart space. And if any of you have looked into what they call heart math science, for the last 20 years they've been doing extensive study. The human mind is programmable. And unfortunately, big business, government, and controllers have figured that out long ago. Every institution has figured it out. Religions, they've all figured it out. And they've been doing it. We can program it ourselves. What we watch programs us. What we read programs us. What we experience programs us. And people are watching Good Morning America for their advice and direction. Good luck to you. I'm sorry. When you hear that, when we go down that spindle thing and you look up and wonder, and you see that toilet handle flipping back up, you realize, oh crap, it's too late. So this is one of the many reminders right now. Pay attention. We're going into another reality. And look at it not as fear, but with pure excitement. And yeehaw, I mean, we're in for a real change. And, pardon me? And you may as well enjoy the ride. I think it was Graham Hancock that had said, I may have mentioned this earlier, it's like in Disney, the e-ticket ride. It's the most expensive ride you can go at in Disney World or Disneyland. And that's what the third dimension in the third realm is. Many beings come back just for the thrill of the experience of the transition. for all sorts of different reasons. And it's exciting when you start looking at it from this perspective. And again, I hope things make more sense. I'll be coming out with a Starseed University, which will be teaching the science of each of these dimensions and realms. And when you look at them, you will realize, oh my gosh, this makes complete sense. Now I understand how these things happen and why they're happening. And you'll have more freedom and latitude on how you want to approach whatever it is you want to achieve or learn about. Because we have access to those that have passed before us. As a matter of fact, one of the scientists I've been working with, work with a lot of them now. One of them, I had asked if he had ever heard, he's developed a device, time manipulation device. It's only about this big, but he's been able to send things and sometimes get them back, but not always. And he's still trying to master it. But he's developed many subtle energy technologies that are off the charts, and I've had them demonstrated for me and other scientists. Yeah, I should mention, my mind keeps jumping around. He said, Rick, out of all the most powerful energies that I've been discovering, you'll never guess what the most, about every single one of them, not electromagnetic fields, it's far, far beyond that. You'll never guess what it is. You want to guess? I said, love. He looked at me dumbfounded and he said, how in the hell did you figure that out? I said, well, love, the most powerful energy that can exist. And when you make a request of anything that is not of this earth, you embed it with deep emotion, great clarity. And if you're not getting the results you want, ask a better question. But do it with every essence of your soul, your being, your emotion. Embed it in there, and with respect, ask for what it is you're looking for. But if you're not getting it the way you want it, try another way. You'll always get it, but you have to keep asking a better question if you want that better answer. So I probably should just be open to questions at this point. I've jumped and gone back and forth, so hopefully this didn't cause too much confusion. So do you want to, JJ, how about taking questions now?